Oh, everybody loves a good unboxing. Well, good morning everybody and welcome to a Sunday morning show. We're going to get out onto the golf course today. However, I have a little box that's arrived, so let's take a closer look. PRG. Now PRG are suppliers, well mainly to like golf shops and things like that, but they are suppliers of accessories, so things like head covers, quality head covers. If you go into the Open shop at the Open Championship, the PRG head covers are generally the ones that are on show there. And they've sent me out a lovely box because they are the official team supplier for the Ryder Cup this year. It's all really ramping up, isn't it? Getting loads of things kind of out there in the media world that's talking about the Ryder Cup, and don't get me wrong, it's exciting. Now, the guys that are going to be playing in the Ryder Cup, the head covers that you'll see on their bags, they're probably PRG head covers, so the PRG guys will be supplying that for them. Now, inside the box, quite exciting. Let's take a closer look. We've got pitchfork. Everybody needs a pitchfork. Make sure you repair your pitch marks, certainly coming into the winter months. Oh yes. Team Europe. Little head cover. I'm going to say that's more designed for probably a hybrid, but that one is, well, looks absolutely fantastic. Got a bit of the stars on the back there. Full Ryder Cup colours. Valuables pouch. Again, Ryder Cup, Bethpage Black. Ryder Cup on the back. If you put your hand inside, ooh, it feels pretty damn good. And it's the sort of place that I would put my pitch mark repairer in there as well. Look, there you go. Now, the next thing coming out is definitely going to be going on my Scotty Cameron. We've got the Ryder Cup just blending in like we've seen on the hybrid head cover there, but we've got the ones with magnets. You know that it's going to securely sit nicely on your putter. Now, I don't carry tour sticks, but I might start carrying them now because I've now finally got hold of a tour stick holder. That thing is looking lovely. And last but not least, oh yes, the driver head cover. Again, Ryder Cup colours, Bethpage Black. Thank you very much, PRG, and I hope that you sell lots of these when it comes to the Ryder Cup because they are absolute quality. Now, with that in mind, talking of quality, let's get out onto the golf course and start working on my game. Not going to see any flags on the greens, kind of like the first few holes anyway, because the guys are out cutting. So I'm out and amongst the green staff this morning, which is always nice to catch up with them. No idea what the yardage was there, but little 56 to get us going. And quick one, you're going to see it on the fairways as we kind of work our way around the golf course and your fairways now because you're moving into the kind of wetter winter months, certainly in the UK. But you're going to see a little bit of what I call a little bit of smearing on the fairways, and this is a little bit of mud. What happened is probably about, let's say 5 years ago, it might be longer, but let's say 5 years ago, we used to have a chemical that could spray the fairways and kind of keep the worms away from coming up to the surface of the fairways. Well, that chemical has now been banned, so the guys can't use it. So now what you get when you get heavy storms like rain and whatnot, the worms come up to the top of the surface, bring up the mud, and then greenkeepers have no other option other than to mow the fairways, and therefore you're going to get a little bit of smearing off the mowers. So if you're starting to see that on your golf courses, probably suggest maybe you go to lift, clean and place, because it's only fair, isn't it? You don't want a muddy, stinking lie. So anyway, just to let you know, that's what we've got out here. The fairways here are pretty good, to be fair. There's plenty of coverage, but you're going to get the odd patch which has got a little bit of that on it. Oh, look at that view this morning. Straight across from the 11th, that's the view, all the way across. I think Torquay Harbour, there it is. Not going to see it because it's a bit blurred, but a little bit of fog this morning rolling over the bay. I'm actually really glad I've got this shot early on because I had it yesterday when I was playing in the 4-ball event with a little 7-iron, pretty straightforward chip and run up the green, and I made a right hash of it. So let's see if I can get this one up and down. That's better, but it's still poor, isn't it? Still poor. Oh, greens are pure. Greens are pure. Yeah, I think they did a bit of work on them, you know, and they're just rolling beautifully already.
Crikey, that's high. That's a high DH. I want to talk to you a little bit about my golf that I've been playing this week. Had 2 tournaments. Completely forgot about the second one, so we'll come on to that one as we kind of work our way around. But yeah, 2 tournaments. First one, Bowood in Wiltshire. If you notice I'm a little bit out of breath, I'm trying to keep ahead of the golfers. They're a little bit pacey this morning. I don't know if there's bad weather coming in or what, but just trying to keep ahead of them. Anyway, Bowood for the Wiltshire tournament, last order of merit event for the year for the region. Playing with Joe the Pro, just the 2 of us out first. It's the way golf should be. 2 balls, 3 hours, 10, 15 minutes that it took us to get round that golf course. And we had a lot of shots between us. There was a spell where I was leader in the clubhouse and Joe was second in the clubhouse at one point. And then about an hour later, the next group came in. Really windy, very wet. And welcome back to tournament golf, I would say, in the UK for me. Not done much this year, which is a shame. Hopefully going to play a little bit this winter, which is kind of more local stuff, which I kind of more enjoy. But yeah, so shot 9 over par I did at Bowood, which sounds a lot, doesn't it? But actually, I wasn't too unhappy with it. As I said, I've not really had a card in my hand for some time, so it's always nice to do that, even though I feel like I have a card in my hand when I'm with you guys out here on the golf course, breaking par and things like that. But I walked off the golf course not unhappy with 9 over par, which is a bit of a shame considering level par was the winning score. I just left a few shots out there because of my short game. You know, I'm not hitting greens. We're only 8 greens in regulation. I'm not getting up and down like I'd like to, even though tricky conditions, and Joe's probably watching this going, don't be so hard on yourself, because it was tough. It was really, really tough. But you're always going to be a little bit hard on yourself, aren't you? So anyway, that's why I'm out here today, just having a little play around on the golf course, trying to hit some greens, trying to work on a couple of things, but also chucking that ball off the green and see if we can get up and down. Oh, that's a shank. That is a shank. Do you know, I've been thinking, I'm glad you're here, because I've been thinking I've been getting a bit close to the Captain Hoswell for some time, like a lot of strikes in the heel, which I'm not a heel striker, as a lot of you know, but I've been noticing that, and I hit a shank yesterday on the range when I was warming up, and that is an absolute pipe that has gone further right than it has forward. Anyway, let's go into the next tee. Oh, so good. So good, DH. So for those of you that do struggle with the odd shank, or just like miss hit more so than anything else, I always think once I start doing it, well, I never do it to be honest with you, but once I start mishitting it, or occasional shank like I just had there, it means that I'm just going to really focus on my strike location on the irons, because, you know, you've got to change. Oh, I don't know if that's the hole there, but you've got to change something. You know, I can't be hitting a shank. That's 2 in 2 days, so, which is a slight concern considering I've not had one for 15 years maybe, so got to focus on something. How can you leave that short? For those of you that have played 13, you can't leave it short from up there. And I just did. Probably still a bit wet. Whew, that hill. It's a serious hill. Right, talking to you about my shoulder. Remember I had back issues? Well, that seems to have sort of sorted itself out, and I do put it down to a lot of my driving. I think with my back, in a van, you're kind of in more of an upright position rather than, let's say, in a car where you're sat a little bit lower. So I kind of feel like I'm dealing with that quite nicely. Shoulder though, crikey. I think it's to do with the fact that I hold the camera that you're watching here now on, I hold the camera, which is really heavy actually. I hold it with my left hand, because I'm left-handed. I hold it with my left arm, and I think over time I feel like maybe I've done some damage with holding the camera with that left arm position, so I just find it really hard to hold it with my right hand, so I'm going to have to sort of think about that. But I've got to get this sorted, because it is, like I said to you before, it's it's quite painful when I'm swinging, especially the sort of longer stuff like the big drivers, and I've lost so much power and speed because of it. Got the GT3 out today. Feels so good out of the middle of the face. I want to pull Diamana shafts. And I know a lot of you contacted me about the Oximity driver. We've been using the Oximity driver all year, really, to this point. I just want something where, you know, the Oximity driver is an offset driver. It's designed to help those golfers hit that more of a draw shape. Well, for someone like me who naturally hits a bit of a draw, sometimes I want to see a little bit of a fade, and it's hard to hit a fade with that club. And then you kind of, then you're worried about overdrawing it and things like that. So I'm just out with a few different drivers the last sort of maybe few weeks, testing them out. I've had a ping out here. I've got the GT3 back out. Probably the GT3 feels the best off the face, if I'm honest, which is Titleist. And so I will look at the Oximity driver again. And I know there's lots of you that are sort of talking about Oximity drivers, and the problem is they're great in the US. You can get them in the US really easily. UK market, they're not ready yet. So I've got a few in the pro shop here at Churston that we've kind of put on the shelf, but there's no real fitting process for them either, because they don't have adjustability, they don't have change of shafts, you know. You pick it up like the bit of an old school way. But like I said to you before so many times, if you're somebody that struggles with a slice, don't look too much further than the Oximity, because it really will help you. There she goes. Oh, it's come out like a knuckleball. Sit down. Hope that pin's at the back. Sit. Oh my goodness. Only problem with the old RBZ is when out of the rough it is hot. Just going to pick up my ball over the back because the boys have arrived. Oh, there it is. The boys have arrived to do some work on the greens. So they'll be swishing. So the guys have been out and cut already. So they'll be swishing. And then he'll be ironing. Where can I see him? There he is. He'll be ironing the surfaces as he comes round, back and forward, and that just sort of allows the green staff, my understanding anyway, green staff to keep the surfaces at maybe a slightly higher height of cut, which then doesn't stress out the grass quite as much, and you can get a nice flat lie, flat roll, without cutting it really, really tight, especially this time of year where, you know, it's still growing, I would imagine, but it's warm. But it won't be growing in the next couple of months, will it? I'm just going to flick a 5-wood down here because the boys are doing some bunker raking down there, so I don't want to be pinging the driver over the top of them. So we'll just lay something down there with a 5-wood. Give me a longer shot in, see if we can work on this shank. Do like that shape, little slider. Whew. Right, 150, 160, maybe 165. Slightly uphill. Let's hit a 6-iron and see where we end up. Middle of the green, over that trap in front of me on the left side of it. Let's get out of the way. Let's try not to shank it with that camera there. Bit pushy, not a shank. Felt more middle that time. To be fair, the shank didn't feel too bad. I just popped up, looked up, and off it went. It's a great thing with modern tech, isn't it? Especially these T100s that I'm using. Wherever you catch them across the face, they still feel good. That's interesting. That house there, that was for sale, sold, and is now for sale again. That's not a good sign, is it? I think the property market's doing so well at the moment, up and down like a yo-yo in the UK. Come on, let's chip this 9-iron in. Stay there. Oh, we're running a bit pacey at the moment because the green staff are right on me, and I don't want to get in their way. Needs to go a little bit, that one. So a couple of exciting things coming up. Just in the middle of trying to organise now I want to call it our annual coaching trip James, Ruth and I have done an annual coaching trip now for last 3 or 4 years, I think. I did Turkey, then last year we did Spain, and I've just had an email from Graham Ruth now to sort of talk about the next one, which is going to be in February. So for those of you that have been on one of our coaching trips before, you'll certainly know. I know everybody walked away very happy last time, so we'll be looking to put on another one again. So if you're interested, just keep your eyes peeled for that, because I'll get some information out on that. And in May, or no, end of April, we are looking to come a little bit closer to home, where we're going to go to Camberwell Park. James and I again are looking to do a Ryder Cup series little match up over a weekend. Probably arrive on the Friday, play Saturday, Sunday. Last weekend in April, so mark that up in your diary if you're interested. Little Ryder Cup match. Great facilities. For those of you that have been or members of Camberwell, you'll know all about that, but I did a trip there and it was fantastic. We've got a lovely short course and got loads of holes to play, so we're going to get that set up. Probably 2 rounds of golf, the short course, 2 nights accommodation, and yeah, have a little bit of fun from that. So pop that one in the diary. Some other, well, pretty good news, I would say, or some confidence building news, is we played a second event this week, which was at Vokey Castle, Devon and Cornwall PGA 4-Ball Championships, of which, let's carry on around here, played with my brother, which I do pretty much every year, I would say, on that one. We've won it a few times, to be fair, but we finished second this year. We finished with 4 under par. I probably let Paul down a little bit, if I'm honest. He was playing some really solid golf, and I needed to come in on a couple of the holes and didn't perform like I would like to. So, but anyway, we finished second, which is good. I'll keep out of the sun. If you turn the camera into the sun, you can't see me very well. Turn it away from the sun, it's like we've got a light on me. Anyway, we finished second. James Wiltshire and Richard Woods, they finished first. They won it with 6 under par, which was good. And then we were tied second at 4 under par, which was, yeah, like I said, pretty happy with that. This is the shot that I want to hit with. I'd want to hit with oximity, but struggle a little bit. It's up the left at that trap down the left-hand side, and then I want to slide it off there, just like that. Look, exactly that. Exactly that. You know, I just don't feel there's any substitute for getting out and actually playing and working on shots out on the golf course. You can stand there on a driving range and hit balls all day long, can't you? But ultimately, putting it under a little bit of strain or giving yourself some visuals out on the course, there's just no substitute for that. So I always say to people, you know, get out and hit balls as much as you can, but also make sure you get out to the golf course, because it doesn't just automatically come from the range straight onto the golf course, you know. But anyway, last little bit of info that I wanted to share with you this morning, which is having a bit of a revamp with the little golf shop website that I've had going, which has just purely been for merch, really. And I kind of wanted to look at some other opportunities. You know, I go to some amazing places, I get to review some great equipment, and unless I do a video on it, it doesn't really get talked about. You obviously get to see the videos that I put together for the golf courses that we go and see, but sometimes I go and see other golf courses that I don't film. So I thought I'd start to look at doing maybe some write-ups on there, and then in the future we're going to be looking to put out some little newsletters, which will just be a good way of keeping in contact with you guys. So there will be a way in which you can kind of sign up for it and get your email addresses, send out the newsletters on a weekly basis, which will have all the new sort of updates or write-ups of what's been going on. Just a little bit more of a hub, you know, as to where people can go and see a little bit more of what we've kind of been up to. Look at sort of revamping the podcast side of it as well, because I do enjoy doing the podcast. So watch this space. But yeah, if you head over to the DH Golf Shop at this moment in time, there is some articles that I've put on there of some of the trips that we've done. Anyway, take a little look for yourself and let me know what you think.